So here we go. I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Are Celtic fans bitter? Are there still hatred towards Brendan Rodgers? Of course, did talk about that in previous vids. The banners, the chants about wanting his death, which is just sick, and also the fact his house did get robbed when he did leave. When he went down to Leicester, of course, it was his Glasgow house that got robbed by a minority of Celtic fans. We're going to read some comments. Tom Colvin said, "Go Brendan." Fair enough. It's like saying, "Aye, Brendan, come on, son." So I'll give it a wee thumbs up here for me. Go Brendan. Moving on to Nicholas McDade. Sevco. Of course, Sevco. Sevco were unlucky to lose the final, albeit very lucky to be there in the first place. Alright, actually, right, Rangers fan here, Rangers fan alert. How were Rangers lucky to get to a Europa League final? What part was luck? We pumped Dortmund, right? We beat Braga, right? Albeit Braga wasn't as convincing as the other games, but I wouldn't say there was any bit of luck. Red Star Belgrade, we absolutely pumped, right? Leipzig, really good performance away, even better performance at home. So, what part of it was luck? You could argue maybe in the group stage there was a bit of luck because we advanced for like 9 points, which normally wouldn't get you anywhere. So maybe you could argue that, but Rangers earned the final spot. You can't. Very lucky. That's just bitterness for this guy. He says Celtic should be more than capable of getting to the Europa League final. If you get to a final, you want to win it. Champions League last 16 year on year would be massive improvement though. Hopefully see improvement across the board with Scottish teams in Europe. Yes, I agree with that. As for Celtic, this season, like in terms of winning the European trophy this season, their best bet is to finish third in their Champions League group. But Big Dyke says, "Lol, Celtic aren't getting anywhere near the Europa League final. You're cannon fodder for the rest of Europe." So there's a wee bit of old firm getting stuck in here. Michael Murray comments, "Celtic did qualify out of that group when they beat Barcelona, so it actually did make a difference." Yeah, we said in that video earlier on this morning, well, I said, did Celtic even qualify? Deutsch, my co-host, said, no, they didn't. It was in 2012. It was a long time ago. They beat them, but let's be real. Celtic fans admit it, they haven't been good enough in Europe. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Joseph Docherty says, "Don't like Sevco fans commentating on a brilliant team like Celtic. Pay your tax, son, and repair Manchester. Hail, all Tims." That's in for Joseph Docherty. As my camera just glitched right back up to the top. What the hell's going on? Yeah, like I said, this channel, it covers all Scottish football, so regardless if I'm a Rangers fan or he's a Hearts fan, I'm going to talk about Scottish football, man. But, it's just a typical Celtic fan to go for all that stuff. Like, you destroyed Parkhead when Ted in a row was falling down, man. Rails getting flung at the team bus, breaking into Brendan Rodgers' house. I mean, it's all part, I was going to say it's all part and parcel, but it's six of one, half a dozen of the other, right? Rangers and Celtic fans both have sets of scumbags. That's undeniable, right? So, oh, look at that. Look at that. I can openly admit that. But Celtic fans can't admit shit. They can't, right? See, when it comes to their historic child abuse, right? Let's be real, hams. And they always bring up Neely from Rangers, right? I'm willing to admit that's fucking wrong. That is wrong. But the difference is they can't actually admit all that stuff was wrong. They just point, "Oh, well, it's alright because Neely did it, so how about you look at your own backyard?" No, how about you just condemn your own backyard, right? Because Neely is fucking, see all that? That is the death penalty. They should be killed, man, right? That is it. Anybody who's doing that to children needs sorted out. But the fact that they have to like point the finger is like, "Oh, well, you did it." Yeah, but you know what the difference is? There's like one instance with Rangers. See with Celtic, it's ridden into the club, man. At least it was back in the day. And even these days, man, you're seeing every couple of weeks, "Oh, ex-Celtic coach, blah, blah, blah." You know what? I would actually like for a Celtic fan to put the bitterness to one side and come out and condemn it and say, "You know what? I support Celtic, but see the abuse is fucking disgusting." Can that actually come for somebody? Or are they all for it? Come on, hit us with here on Fog Football, the hard-hitting truths. Tom Bomb Adeli, however, that's my offer. Good luck with this, big man. Who knows? Who really cares? Celtic or Rangers won't win a European trophy because they have the same problems as PSG. They're playing bad teams nearly every week. Then when it comes to Europe, they can't up their game and get beaten off teams that they should be beaten because the other team is in way more competitive league. I disagree with that because Rangers in the Europa League run were much better in Europe than they were in the league. PSG, I mean, you can maybe argue, but PSG, right? They haven't like they've dominated. Like Monaco, Lille have took the league off PSG. PSG is just a team full of superstars that are only in it for themselves. That's the real reason I think PSG have not um done anything, if I'm being honest. Uh Dodongo says he's getting none of them. Well, it looks like Ange ain't getting Hatate, the rest of them. Jamie Young says, "You're a Hun, son. Stick to your club as you do in your own channel. But this is a Scottish football channel, big man. So we're free to talk about it, and that's the way the cookie crumbles." Greg Robertson says that Calroos is a permanent signing. Yeah, he said in that video he's on loan. Turns out it's Porter, was that his name? Guy on loan. The guy for Ajax is on loan. Daniel says, "No backstabber allowed." So Brendan Rodgers is no want it. Andrew Harvey says the only players that could possibly go to Tottenham is Cameron Carter-Vickers and Hatate. Oh. Ronnie Scott says, "We've done no bad with the Orange Boys. You had to ask, for fuck's sake." Predictions? Oh, you know what? Scotland taking on Georgia, man. Put the predictions. We're going to win, but that's what it is. Rio Hatate. What about sushi? Ronnie Scott's coming in here, man, laying the smackdown. Anthony McKiernan says, "Brilliant. I'm glad he's coming home where he belongs. Don't get me wrong, I was mad when he walked, but he's definitely the best man for the job. Hail, hail. The Huns are in meltdown." Lol. Yes, I am in pure meltdown here. It is evident. We have got James H saying, just a bunch of smiley faces. Mr. McKenna saying, "I was gutted when Rodgers left, but can't understood with the lackey investment in substandard players we were bringing in. I just thought it would have been at the end of the season. I always wanted Brendan Rodgers to return to main fence as an outstanding manager. Ange helped revitalise us, along with the stewardship of Michael Nicholson and the backing of Desmond. If we retain the majority of the first team and add some quality and restrict Lowell Senior from meddling, I think we're in for a genuinely heady times." Hail, hail. Yeah, you know what? There's been a lot of Celtic fans on these comments already saying like they're kind of forgiving Brendan, but they did like hate it when he left, which I think's a fair enough thing to say. King Dom says, "I'm not surprised he's getting a tie. That was the only player I expected him to bring. I thought Kyogo and Iwata has possibilities. Maybe we're riling the Canadian in the future." Nothing really to do with Brendan Rodgers here, but basically what he's saying is Spurs should give Celtic free players. Well, no, well, I mean, what's free Spurs players though, or is Ange going to get up to give to Celtic and also the wage demands? It just doesn't work like that. It's not going to happen. I hope the Green Brigade keep their powder dry until Brendan gets his system working properly. No need for offensive banners in the first few months. Ian Campbell says, "I agree. The whole 'my bird left me' analogy is bullshit. It's modern day business, never mind football. When he fucks off in 3 years' time, we'll get enough compensation to cover his wage bill." Again, Ian Campbell says, "I read that 5 year contract he got with interest. The board starting to hedge out our frauds, or funds at least." Well, it's a 3 year deal, folks. But these comments are a wee bit out of date. Oh, we have got the most obsessed Celtic fan of them all. It's Matthew Miles. "It's Celtic we support. Players and staff come and go. It's always Celtic. The novice has walked out on every club that has employed him, but nothing said. We'll just keep laughing." Nacy is the most honest when he said he had no allegiance to the new club, just like Gorgie, who jumped ship when they died. I mean, so that's a video, right, about Brendan Rodgers, and this guy has to come in with this Celtic stuff. Big Matthew Miles, the same guy who says it doesn't matter what UEFA say, it doesn't matter what FIFA say, because Rangers are dead, even though every football organisation in the world still recognises Rangers, and they just can't accept it, folks. They cannot accept it. Anyway, Ian Campbell says the prospect of him leaving again is real, but would probably mean he's wiping the floor with Ali McBeal and having a respectable Champions League campaign. On the flip side of that, if McBeal wins the league next season, then he'll probably be off to Chelsea, and so it goes. Patricia Foy says, "I don't think so, that will be all sorted out. I am glad he is back. It wasn't his fault he left. That was the board's fault." Yeah. Let's be real. Rodgers left, he didn't get backed. It's not, I mean, yes, he still left in a shady fashion, I guess you could say, but it's not like see with Ange, he's left, and you could say, well, Ange has been backed. But he isn't a Celtic man. I feel like that's probably why it stings a wee bit more. Ian Campbell talks about the announcement being public today. Big Paul comes in and says, love to have been a fly on the wall when Dermot Desmond pulled ranked on Peter Lawwell and brought Rodgers back. But Big Peter Lawwell is at the press conference tomorrow. What he says are more likely, he doesn't say, will be very interesting. It will be, won't it? Who knows? Nick87 says, Ange was further fourth choice. Spurs wanted on his slot when he rejected them when they're only May not March. Did they come to Ange? It is entirely possible. Ange would have done a Rodgers given the opportunity. Nah, I don't think so. It seems like this deal has been in the pipeline since March, and it makes sense if Spurs want it. Well, I think it was March. I know you're saying May, mate, but I think it was March, personally. I feel like Ange. I don't know. I feel like it's been March. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's no guarantee. Like it could, but either way, he's left Celtic. Doesn't really matter now. James Brown says, I think it will be a disaster. They'll be threatening his family after they come second. Ian Campbell says, Celtic don't do second. Sevco do second. You mean like sending to his family home live bullets? I thought that was more the remit of Rangers fans. Yeah, that's what they sent to Neil Lennon. But you know, again, it's half a dozen, six of the other, because Neil Lennon got sent bullets by Rangers fans, well, supposed Rangers fans, you know, the minority, and Brendan Rodgers got attacked by Celtic fans. Both scumbag things, but it's not like Rangers sent it to their own manager. Obviously, it's two heinous acts, but it's not like Neil Lennon's becoming Rangers manager. That would never happen, obviously, for obvious reasons, but two despicable acts, man, that should have been dealt with, nipped in the bud. Jamie Young says, stick to being a hun, bro. Don't kid on you like us. You take the money for our fuse, though. Well, I didn't make that fit. That was the other guy. He's a Hearts fan. Alright? Who's saying we like Celtic? I hate Celtic with a passion. But you know what? This fid still had to get made. Jason Lee says, good. Now let's build for Europe. Billy says, passes in the past. Let's behind the new manager. Hail, hail. Finally, a pragmatic, mature post. Sick of hearing from the petaled lip brigade going on about, well, this rat left us mid-season. Move on and give him another crack at it. Thanks, mate. The man's records. But look at, we've actually got two guys here willing to let Brendan back in the door. I'm going to read just a few more comments. How much is he getting paid? $5 million a year? Who knows? Christopher McLaughlin says, finally. King Dom says, should have done this in sequence and rated them so we know when the actual Ange signings start. Sure, that's when we ranked all Ange's signings, but we did it just from worst to best. Obviously, you could have done it that way, but I wouldn't have liked them that way, personally. Honestly, though, that is us done. That is all these comments read through. There is a lot, man. I could have went through a lot more, but that's all. I think it's about 15-minute video here. But leave your thoughts down below, Celtic fans. Brendan Rodgers, good or bad?